Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am going to post this on Twitter. Draft live show starting now with a lot of exclamation marks. And then I will put the link below. Boop. Okay. How is everyone doing today? I hope you were able to check out our stream from earlier that Bryce and I did. We broke down the rest of the internationals. We talked about some sleepers. I mean, sleepers for us, they would have been, just normal filler guys of the past, but we've evolved a little bit. Now we call guys who will get guaranteed contracts in the second round sleepers. So I'm very excited. This is going to be really fun. I hope you guys are really excited as well. Bryce is on his way. Some kind of call that he's on ran late. I think he just doesn't want to talk about how handsome all the people in this draft are. This might be the last year we can do all handsome teams because it is starting to get a little weird now that we're 24 and not 18 years old anymore. But what do I know about anything? I'm just a guy doing this for fun at this point. So my Fubo TV stream is now buffering. That's what I get for getting a Fubo TV free trial subscription. I want to see all the suits so I can tell you whose I like. Christian Anderson's is all right. Too bad they don't want me to see it. Maybe I need to restart my computer. That'd be sad because then I'd miss the suits. Cam Boozer in the all white. That's beautiful. It's really good. Really well fitting. You can tell he's got a dad who has a tailor after however many years in the league who can actually tailor bigger bodies like that. So I'm happy for him. If anybody who's watching has any questions you want me to answer before Bryce gets on, or if you have a question for when Bryce gets on, or you want both of us to answer, you can always ask away in the comments. This will be posted on the actual YouTube page, as all our streams are, but I'm not editing this. So you'll get to hear all the stupid things I say. You'll get to hear all my bloopers. You'll get to hear all of Bryce and I's if we if we get to that point of how long it takes to talk. I had something I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, I was thinking about who are the worst drafting teams in the league, right? And there's a few. I mean, both LA teams I think have to be up there. The Lakers have not drafted anyone of note, and since Austin Reeves, I don't know if that counts because he's undrafted. So that's kind of tough. I think the Clippers, another team that I feel like they've taken more swings than the Lakers have, but they just consistently hit on these. They got Terrence Mann, and I did like Amir Coffey. I thought he stuck around the league a little while. They do fine on those back end guys. The Bucks, I don't know if Rollins doesn't count because they traded for him. I liked MarJon enough, I guess, but they were consistently unable to draft players to put next to Giannis and shut their own window because they were so bad at drafting. Obviously, last year I think the Nets had the worst draft of all time. I don't even think it's comparable. I don't know how you blow through 5 picks and don't even get one player. Even the Rockets 2021 draft with Jalen Green, Jacob, and Usman Garuba still get Şengün. Jalen Green is good enough to be traded for Kevin Durant. So, I don't really think you can say that. It's really hard. I feel like this is a much more difficult conversation than best drafting teams. The best drafting teams are super obvious, right? You don't even really have to think about them. You look at teams like the Celtics. You look at teams like the Heat, although I mean, the Heat taking Jaime Jaquez was funny, but I guess they traded him for Giannis. But like, have the Heat ever really missed on a draft pick? No. I mean, they always find a way to get something out of everybody. It's really incredible. But I don't know. I was trying to think of other bad teams. Like historically, the Knicks were awful, but like drafted Deuce McBride, um, but drafted Bacome Dadier. I don't know if that counts as like a bad. I don't know. They don't really have many other first round picks that they've taken, and they've traded like all of them. They drafted Emmanuel quickly, R.J. Barrett, kind of a bad pick, but go back in time to those days, and that class ended up just being a nightmare class in a lot of ways. It kind of reminds me of 2022, right? 2022 was this class where there's all this hype, all this, it's just been major letdown in every possible way. I don't know. I don't know who else would be like the awful drafting teams of the NBA. But that was if you guys have any teams that I'm missing, I think my pick would be the Lakers. And I think Stone would be upset at me for about half a second when I said that, and then he would agree with me. I think they have not hit on a draft pick in what feels like decades. And I don't know if Max Christie counts as hitting on a draft pick. So give me one moment here while I pull up Fubo TV again so I can watch the draft. Okay, actually, this is crazy. Caleb Wilson's suit it fits him well. I really like that all red suit. LeBaron's jacket, way too small. I like the coat with the 3-piece suit. Is that Darren Peterson or is that Ibuka? It's that Ibuka's rocking. Keaton Wagler's suit looks awful, and I hate to say it. Bennett Sturt's in the cream. Hans Steinbach. Oh, actually, the LeBaron Philon suit, actually a banger. I really like it's like got a funky fit on it on purpose. It's not that he bought it too small. It's that it's designer. I think that looks really, really fun. That's really cool. There's always someone who just that's AJ DeBonce's suit. Absolutely sweet. I don't know if I love the collar on it, but he's got some swag. Maybe he'll jump Kingston Fleming's on my board now after seeing that suit. Draft night suits, in my opinion, are very important for your projection as a long-term NBA player. If you show up completely swagless or your suit doesn't fit, I already know you're not going to be a guy in the NBA, right? Simple as that. It's just, but if you show up with like a 6'6" suit, I mean, we could have told you Kevin Knox was going to be a bust when he showed up with the Fortnite suit, right? I mean, the second you see that, oh yeah, you just know they're going to be a bust. Carlos and Cam Boozer looking great together here. You can tell that they have a professional tailor. I already said that, but like those suits fit well. Cam's kind of hunching his shoulders, kind of bunching up the suit, but when he's standing up, it looks great. Carlos's suit looks great. It looks a little better than his painted-on hairline a few years ago. Darren Peterson's suit is a little too tight on the shoulders, but I don't know. He still makes it work. So I think that's a star indicator. Let me know if you guys, what your opinion is on the suiting here at the NBA draft. I don't know. I wish I could have it streamed up so I could be showing everyone, but hopefully you all have your own streams up as well. Why does Caleb Wilson have in headphones? That's a bust move. That's a bust move. Showing up to the NBA draft and you got headphones in because you I don't know. That's kind of crazy. Yeah. I don't know. These the team fits that they always have at the bottom of these, just like scrolling across, they always make me laugh because it's like, yeah, sure, in theory, every single team needs more playmaking. Every single team needs a great backup wing, but every single team needs more size. But they always find a way to mess them up a little bit. We're just getting all the shots of the top 4 prospects here. I do not have my Shams notifications on, mainly because I don't have the app. I genuinely have no idea who's going to go first. I have an idea of who will go second and third and fourth, but I don't know if Peterson's going to go first. I don't know if DeBonsa is going to go first. So I'm really excited. If you watched our mock, you saw that I do think that Cam Boozer should be going here first. I do think he's very clearly the best player in this class. I don't even think it's like a debate. I think Cam Boozer is like on the Cooper Flag level of prospect. I would personally rank him above Flag. I think that the offensive dominance and special skills are just undeniable. You do not find guys who are this dominant statistically, eye test wise, for their age, like was the best player in the country at 19. They just don't exist. And the other way that I kind of think about him is like, I think in terms of special skills, right? If you have a truly special skill, like outlier good, will immediately provide value in the NBA, even as a young guy, like this is your skill. That's like enough really for me to put you in my lottery tier, because I just don't think there's that many guys who have truly outlier skills. And Boozer has 2. I think Boozer's control of the boards and his playmaking is like second to none. And then he's extremely strong. Like he's got other things that are just shy of special skills, right? But he's still extremely, extremely good. I think him and Sarr, like if you could put him and Sarr in actions, and then you have him and Bilal in transition, just like zinging passes up ahead. I mean, what do you even do? How do you guard that? If anyone can explain that to me, then maybe I will accept another argument for why Peterson or DeMonsa should go 1. But if I were a Wizards fan and I was watching DeMonsa here, I would if I watched us pick DeMonsa, I'd be a little disappointed. I think he's very good, but there's too many special talents there as well to miss on. Welcome in, Bryce.
I finally made it. I apologize. I was doing some administrative stuff at my other job, but hype to be here, and we're yet to see a pick. So my timing works out okay. This is also the worst angle ever. Oh my gosh. I'm in my living room, not my normal recording space. So
we got a question. If I was the Rockets, would I trade any of the core players to get into the top of the draft? I was thinking about this earlier. If you could trade up to 3, I'd probably give up anyone not named Amen to get Cam Boozer. Like, obviously, the top of the draft could also mean, like, Kingston Flemings, if we could get LeBaron Philon. Like, if you have to trade, where
are the Rockets picking?
Like 39 and 50-something. So,
but I would say, like, there are teams that, like, I would be really interested in trying to move to get, like, and I still like Reed Shepherd, but, like, to get another guard to mix in, like, a Sturts or something, like, in the, obviously I'm crazy high on a Corey. So, like, if you could get a Corey at 21 or something, like, if you could find that, the tough thing is the Rockets don't have, like, great player plus contracts either. Like, they have an interesting group, but how many of those guys are, like, crazy obvious value contracts? It's tough to say.
Yeah, I think the thing is, if you could move like one of the picks from next season, we have 2 first-rounders in 2027. If you could move one of those to get into like the 15 to 18 range, I would do that. You could probably get up to like 12 even with how good some of those picks are projected to be. If you could get Yaxel Lendeberg, I think that would be crazy. Obviously, I think there's more need at guard. I would die for LeBaron Philon. I think he would be a great Rocket. I mean, Jaden Quaintance, there's been talk of him falling to the second round. If you could trade some of those seconds to move up into the late first and snag him. I mean, this group obviously just kind of needs more talent wherever you can get it, and more pieces to kind of fit everyone together. Which
Yeah, I mean, Quaintance is a no doubt about it guy. If you can get Quaintance, then you should. But sounds like that's a whole mess. I will say, like, you're hearing all these reports, and I will just remind people that not only is it smokescreen season in general, but also with the gambling companies and everything, it's even more smokescreen season than it's ever been before. So just keep that in mind. Adam Silver is at the podium. We will see. Is it a pick yet? It's pick time, right? It's about that time.
Don't they start with the 2 minutes?
Oh, do they? I don't know. I hope the draft doesn't go with it only being the first round. I hope it doesn't go crazy long because I do have like kind of a hard out at 10 o'clock Eastern. I start to like squint my eyes to do math, but yeah, I'm hopeful that it doesn't take forever, but who are you feeling here? Who is it? Is it for sure AJ at number one? How's this going to go?
This would be great if it was DeBonsa or Peterson. I would feel really good about this pick if it was Peterson. I talked for a good 2 or 3 minutes about how I wish it was Cam Boozer. I would be like dying if I was the Wizards to get Cam Boozer, but I don't know. I feel really weird about the fit with DeBonsa with all these guys.
I'm so glad that the Wizards are not drafting Cam Boozer. Truthfully, after the whole Trae Young thing and AD thing, like I'm just like, do not send my beautiful boy to that shit show of a franchise.
Yeah, from a I want to see Cam Boozer succeed. I want to see him go to Memphis, and I want him to just like dominate the league in Memphis. But
shut up. You want him in Utah?
No, dude. Do I want him playing the 2? No, I don't.
Here's what I'll say, by the way, for people who are just now kind of maybe haven't been on a draft live stream with us or anything. Just keep in mind that this is when we tend to go a little bit more gloves off and a little bit more unhinged. Our more measured takes are in our podcast. If you want like real, like we will give real opinions and actual like thoughts, but it's also, this is where we're going to be a little bit meaner as well. But anyways, they're showing like the history of the Wizards' number 1 overall picks, and the first one it shows is Kwame Brown. And I feel like that's a bad sign. That's a bad omen for AJ. I mean, they drafted John Wall first overall too, right? Like the tough thing is I think this could be such a fun young core in Washington that I just feel like is being absolutely ruined by the presence of Trae Young and Anthony Davis, and Trae Young being on a 4-year, $100 billion contract. So I'm just like, it's tough for me to like get any excitement about this. But if it is Peterson, I do think that's interesting. Do you feel like a shock could happen this early, Coop? Do you really think Peterson is actually in play here?
I was talking about this. I genuinely don't know, but I do feel like Peterson is the level of talent where it's like sometimes teams just realize last minute, like, we got to take this guy. Like Paolo, it was like an hour before or whatever, like 30 minutes before. But I don't know. I mean, DeBonsa has kind of just been penciled in, but I don't know. Peterson he's so good. Did you see the stat that he has the highest freshman guard BPM since James Harden?
That doesn't surprise me. James Harden as a freshman? That's interesting because James Harden didn't even leave after his freshman year, right? He left after his sophomore year?
Maybe it was like highest underclassman guard. I don't know. I'm gonna check it. I'm gonna fact check it and not just recite what I read off of Twitter.
While you're fact checking, I do think that an interesting question is if there was going to be a shakeup in the top 4, which it's kind of has been AJ, Darren, Cam, Caleb in that order for a while. What's the most likely shakeup? I think is kind of an interesting question. I would say the most likely shakeup is Cam at 2, but there are some that would say it's Darren at 1. I don't think Caleb could break into that top 3, but the Grizz also kind of marched to the beat of their own drum a little bit, right? Like that's absolutely a front office that could say, actually, I'm just going to do what I feel like. So do you have a thought for what the most likely top 4 shakeup is?
Most likely top 4. I do think most likely is Darren going here at 1. The Memphis taking Caleb Wilson would like actually piss me off. And like I like Memphis. I think they're really fun. But like Cam Boozer ending up in Chicago would make me really mad. It would be cool getting to watch him.
See, I disagree.
Matas,
I'm like, give me Cam Boozer and Matas Buzelis. Like you and I have very different opinions on where we want our favorite players to go in this draft.
Oh, dude, the Grizzlies are a good organization who has just been kicked in the teeth by like players exploding, their limbs dying, John Morant getting into a fight with a 17-year-old. Like, I don't know, like they're just a good org. None of these other orgs in the top are like that good. I think the Wizards are a good organization-ish until they like did all the Trae Young bullshit. And then like Utah, I don't know. I don't want. They're shameless. They're shameless.
Hey, say what you will. Utah's going to be a top 6 seed in the West next year. They will be better than your Houston Rockets next year.
That is not going to happen.
What do you want to put on it, kid? What do you want to bet?
I don't know. What is there even to bet? Like
it's got to be some type of pod related humiliation. Whoever's team finishes higher in the West gets to listen as the other person recites their worst draft misses over the last 5 years. You have to write a whole soliloquy about all the guys you missed on the hardest over the last 5 years.
That would be good. And I would love to tell you about how I'd have to go through your boards. I only remember my misses really badly, but our misses are pretty much the same. So
I'll tell you what, you've never been more vindicated though. Deuce McBride is an NBA champion, Coop.
That I feel that one like in my heart. That one.
Remember he was the first person when we first had you on the podcast the first time ever, and you're like, this Deuce McBride guy, I'd probably draft him at like 11.
Yeah, dude, he's good. He's just good, and guys like him. We need more guys like him in the league. I was talking about that in some group chat earlier today. Like, we need more just tough ass motherfuckers in this league. Tough guys like Cameron Boozer, who should be getting drafted first overall. Did you see that quote he had? He's like, they're talking about how he felt about not being involved in like the discussion for the first overall pick, and he was like, well, in like long way down the line, we're going to be talking about how I should have.
Not to interrupt, but the pick is in. Silver's at the stanchion, and the selection is AJ DeBonsa. So
lame.
We're not surprised. Let's quickly talk about Coop. How do you feel about DeBonsa in Washington? How do you feel like this is going to look year one, and then more broadly, how is this going to look long term?
There's so many like wing shot creators and shooters who just like, and AJ DeBonsa is very easily the best of them. I think he's kind of different because they have a lot of like Trey Johnson, Bilal, what's his name, the Swiss guy, who are all like kind of stretch the floor, kind of cutter guys. DeBonsa is a true slasher, and I do think that is really interesting for them. Just getting finally getting a go-to scorer for them, I think is important. DeBonsa is still like a really talented scorer, shooter, all this stuff. But there's a lot of weaknesses here, right? There's a lot of worries about the super high-end upside because the touch can be lacking, especially on his jump shooting. I think as a rookie, he'll be really interesting. We'll see how much usage he actually gets if Anthony Davis is healthy, with Trae Young getting paid max money. He still has to fit in next to guys like Trey Johnson. He still has to fit in with like guys like Alex Sarr. It's just the room's a lot more crowded, and you're relying a lot on Trae Young to get all these guys involved in a way that you weren't if you pick somebody else.
So that's the first thing I'll say is I feel like if even with AD, and I've had my qualms with the AD thing, but even he like could work absolutely fine next to AJ. Sar, Trey Johnson, AJ, really fun group. Now, huge defensive and Keyshawn George is, I was probably too low on him. Has had a really successful start to his NBA career. Really fun player. Even Bilal Coulibaly, I still think is probably an NBA player. I mean, I don't think he's going to completely bust out. But what does it look like because AJ needs the ball? And Trae Young just makes everyone around him stand in the corner. Like, Trae does not work in any type of it's all about Trae scheme. Like, that's until he proves that he can, why would I believe that he can? You know what I mean? And so I'm really concerned about what this actually means for AJ's prospectum. For what it's worth, like, he's probably just too talented to completely fail, even if I feel like this is a weird early on fit. And the Wizards are probably going to be smart enough to, if it's not working with Trae and AJ, work to cut bait in whatever way you can. Now that contract is immediately like a huge, gigantic negative that would cost money to move off of. But, you can figure it out. Like, there will be teams that will take him, I'm sure. But the reason I wouldn't have taken AJ here, and the reason we've said all along, is that he is a volume scorer who can be efficient, but is not someone who is going to drive winning all on his own, almost certainly. He's a horrendous defender. Good, like kind of good for the archetype, but not elite passer. Not an elite floor spacer, horrible off-ball mover and cutter. He's someone who needs the ball and will mostly need the ball to score. Now, the one thing I like about him playing with Trae is that it might force him to actually learn a little bit about how to play off the ball or be a second side attacker. We could have used with DeMar DeRozan playing off the ball earlier in his career too. But I do have some. I just think this is a ceiling limiting pick for the Wizards. Like, long term, their ceiling is probably a little bit capped. Trey Johnson, I think, is a great fit next to AJ. I think Sar is a great fit next to him. But when AJ is the guy that everyone is a great fit next to, I still think you're a little bit limited at the top ends. Good player, almost certainly, in my opinion, going to be an all-star. I'm rooting for him. Seems like a nice kid. But, I just, at one, just feels a little much to me, truthfully. Like, nothing about him. Nothing about him screams like number one player on a truly good team to me. But the Jazz pick is in, and it does not look like Silver is walking out. It just says the pick is in big letters on the thing. So I'll interrupt you as you get there. Is there anything? Who do you think this is going to be, Coop? Who's your prediction for who's going here at 2?
Darren Peterson. I hate to break it to you, but I don't.
It's funny that I'm acting like this about it. Like, I'm very high on Peterson. I really do feel like, of the nerds, like my big rant on our podcast was about as effusive as anyone has gotten in terms of their praise for the star and outcomes for Peterson. I just think Boozer is better. I think Boozer might have I think Peterson might be the best shooter in the world at some point in his career, and maybe even early on. Like, by the time he's hitting his second contract, I think we might just be like, oh, this is just the best shooter in the world. Being the best guy at one of the most important skills in the sport of basketball is going to make you a pretty damn good player. And he's also, 6'6" with a plus wingspan. He competes sometimes defensively. He has okay, feel and understanding. So it's not like I'm low on him. I think if the Jazz pick him, that'd be a great pick. He's just not Cam Boozer. And I love Boozer's potential fit and everything. But anyways, Silver is up with the second overall pick. The Utah Jazz select Darren Peterson from Kansas. Coop, how do you feel about Peterson in Utah?
I think this is really nice. I think Will Hardy will be able to get the most out of Darren Peterson. I think he's one of the best coaches in the NBA who has been limited by the fact that he coaches for an immoral team who does not believe in true basketball. But I am really excited. I think that a guy like Peterson for them can start immediately. I think this is like one of the few teams where I think he could like long-term become a point guard. I think that he has a coach that could scheme him into a lot of the stuff that he's good at. We're seeing him and his family like crying, very cute. Is Darren Peterson like the most talented player ever drafted by the Utah Jazz? I think yes. It's like, I don't know. I'd have to like really dig into it, but
Do we count? Are we counting Karl Malone?
no, Karl Malone doesn't count.
Okay, so then probably, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
think for what it's worth, I think that Peterson is going to be a multi-time All-Star and likely, All NBA player at multiple times in his career. I don't think he will be the best player from this draft, as we've said over and over and over. But I think that this is one of the best scorers in the world at some point in his career. Like, I think his touch is just unbelievable. He just has an unbelievable ability to just hit off-balance shots, off the ball, on the ball. He can compete defensively. I think he could be a point guard. Truthfully, he's going to be an off guard in Utah because Keontae George will be the guy. But I think that this is a good pick and that he will really seriously help the Jazz be relevant for the next decade. We're going to look back and say, in my opinion, likely that this is like the Donovan Mitchell of this draft to Cam Boozer's Jason Tatum, but still taking a guy who I had at 2 on my board at 2. And for what it's worth, again, I had him in the same tier as Boozer because I do think there are worlds where he returns more value because I think the special skill is that special. He's just less well-rounded. But I'm growing into positivity. I'm sure I will be a huge Peterson fan in time. But it's there's still also that part of me that's like, man, if only it could have been Boozer. Is Beal an okay call for Peterson, or is Darren better than Beal? I think Darren is quite a bit better than Beal. I actually think like the problem with comparing Peterson to the type of off guards he often gets compared to, like Devin Booker or whoever, is that he's much more extreme in terms of his skill set. Like the true high end comps for Peterson are not your Bradley Beals or your Devin Bookers, like these scoring off guards. It's way closer to Ray Allen, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. It's like this is someone who is singularly one of the best in the world at a single, like, in super important skill. Now he can do other things, but I think that is anytime I compare him to like star guys, it's those types of guys. Does that seem accurate to you, Coop?
Yeah, I think a lot of other guys, their stardom is made more in scoring, right? Like Beal is a scorer; he's not a shooter, right? I do think that Darren, that's kind of one of the mix-ups with who he is as a player, is that he's a shooter, and he utilizes that to score the ball. But his first threat isn't "I'm going to go up over you." It's "I'm going to bomb and you have to guard me." And then he can also slash on top of that. And also like have this super well-rounded game off of that. Because it is just like his most outlier, most special skill. I'm really excited for Darren Peterson. I think getting to play with a good organization is going to be so great for him. Getting to go to Utah. And I'm excited for you to get to cheer for your guy, since you were the Darren Peterson guy, I think, on draft Twitter this year. Everyone else is super low on him. I was super surprised to scroll Twitter and see that the last few days.
I don't know about the guy on Peterson, but I was very high on him. Coop, is there any doubt in your mind? Is this going to be Boozer here at 3?
There's sneaking suspicion in my mind that this is going to be Caleb Wilson, and I will vomit. I will vomit if this is Caleb Wilson. I would be really sad for the Grizzlies. Trade Jaren, trade Desmond Bane, Ja loses his brain, and you have the chance to get like the dominant freshman, since Zion, and you're gonna pass it up. But I bet they take him. This is the same front office that took Edie a few years ago, so you have to guess that they really value the statistical profile and what he brings.
Speaking of dominant Duke freshmen, where do you rank Boozer as a prospect amongst the National Player of the Year freshmen from Duke compared to Flag and Zion?
Okay. Prospect Zion 2019 is my first. Oh, well, let's watch this and then we'll probably get to talk about how awesome
it is Boozer. So
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is Boozer. This is sweet. So happy for Cameron Boozer. I would rank him above Flag, and Zion 2019 was the first cycle I really scouted. Before that, I was kind of just watching some tape here and there for fun. And I thought Zion was I thought he was God. I don't know if there's a person alive who watched Zion and didn't think he was gonna just destroy the league for decades at the time. So I'd probably go Zion, Boozer, Flag to rank them. The Cameron Boozer fit. I was talking about this before you hopped on. The all white is incredibly clean. His suit is incredibly clean, and it's fitted like someone who has a dad who has found a good tailor for a situation like this. It looks very classic. He's
got to fix that haircut though, low key.
Yeah.
Go ahead, fashion man.
Yeah, but it's very reminiscent of the 2003, like those early 2000s fits. It just like the all one color block. It's a lot thinner than those. It's not as drapey as those suits were back in the day. But this is, I think, a suit that is going to stand the test of time among his peers. It's very nice. And I don't know. I'm very excited. This fit in for Cameron Boozer in Memphis, getting to play with Ced Coward, getting to play with, just big athletes, huge players, just him passing the ball to Zach Edey as an interior scorer. So sick. That's going to be so sick. I'm really excited for him, for Memphis. This is going to be really cool.
Really fun that Memphis will get a run. Whoever the starting point guard is, Cam Spencer or Healthy Jaw or Scottie Pippen Jr., whoever. Wells, Coward, Boozer, Edey is a really, really fun group, but also not one that you're like, well, we're locked into any of these players and they're kind of like weird, bad fits or whatever. Like there's plenty of variability there. I think this is an all-time pick. I mean, I think so. For what it's worth, the history of National Player of the Year freshman Cooper Flag, I think he's going to be a star. I personally prefer him to Boozer, but freshman National Player of the Year, 2 years in a row from the same school, both top 3 picks. Zion was National Player of the Year, also from Duke. Zion has had probably what you would say is like a 20th percentile outcome for his career and has still been, a crazy efficient interior scorer, done some good things. Anthony Davis did it. Kevin Durant did it. I think that might be it for the 2000s. And I don't want to go back too far. But that's pretty much 100% success rate with the potential argument against being Zion has kind of disappointed in some ways. I just think Cam Boozer is an unbelievable basketball player. He is the best passing prospect, in my opinion, that we've scouted in our time doing this. The only person up there is Cade. But I was thinking about this because I went back and I listened to our pods. And I was listening to our Cam Boozer pod. I think the argument for Cam over Cade is that Cade took way more risk. And Cam finds a way to be a really high leverage passer without throwing those same types of turnovers. Like his ability to gauge risk reward is a little bit better than Cade. even though Cade was maybe a little bit more of like, a true point. Now, again, I was lower on Halliburton, and obviously that one has bit me in the butt. So he's the other person kind of in that realm. But, I never ended up putting that video together. I was working on a video where I was basically comparing Cam Boozer as a passer to a combination of Nikola Jokic and Tyrese Halliburton. And I just think is he quite the level of either of those guys? You can make an argument one way or the other, but I think passing is the number one skill to build high level teams around. And he is a good enough shooter, a good enough, overall scorer. I think the mid-range game is going to develop. I think that gets maybe over discussed, his lack of mid-range game. I think that'll get way better. Wow, shout out Cam Boozer's mom, man. Anyways, I just think he's a special player. I think Cam Boozer, Zach Edey pick and rolls are going to be unfucking real. Like, just, it's still kind of a shock to me that he's not number one. Like, even in the moment, if you go back and listen to that pod, we were like, people are saying AJ, but like, it's going to be Cam. Like, even is 2.5 months ago or whatever it was, like, it still felt like, but Cam is just the best player. And I just think he is. Like, even though I have him in the same tier as Darren, and I do think there are certain outcomes where Darren can be better, I just think, pound for pound, Boozer's just the best player in this draft. And I just think people get so locked in their aesthetic biases because he's not like dunking on dudes in the way they want, and they just overlook what is obvious greatness. But anyways, the Bulls are up at 4. I think this is the most obvious pick in the whole draft, even more than those top 3. They take Caleb Wilson from North Carolina. Coop, we've been lower on Wilson, or maybe like it seems like the only contingent of people who don't have Caleb Wilson super high. Tell me why we are lower.
Well, I think I'm even lower than you. I just really worry that he's extremely raw defensively. He's talked a lot about as this like hyper dominant defender, and he's got like some fun motor stuff, but he's just very technically not all there. And I think his feel for the game is lacking in a lot of ways. He's very athletic, and he really uses that to like overcompensate in a lot of ways. He'll make mistakes and then still cover up the ground, and that leaves a lot of like potential pathways forward for him. But there's he's not gonna shoot the ball, at least for a while. He still struggles a lot as a ball handler. He doesn't have a lot of very refined skills at the moment. There's a lot of flash and not very much other than just like interior finishing that he can really hang his head on at the moment, his hat on at the moment. And I do think going to the Bulls is going to really hinder a lot of that interior scoring mojo. I think they have 3 lottery picks who most of what they do is score on the interior. Matas is like a good slasher. Assange is only a slasher. And then you pair them with Caleb Wilson, who is another guy who struggles to score from anywhere outside of 5 or 6 feet. I think this will be a cool development spot for him, but I do worry that he's not going to play make. He's not going to do much else. Terrence Jones is an interesting name. I think that's one that I would kind of think about, but I think he's even a little more raw than Terrence Jones was coming out. I didn't really think of a comp for Caleb Wilson, but
what about
I don't know. Do you
Evan
have one?
Mobley offensively with way worse defense? I think the thing for me with Caleb Wilson is that he is purely a play finisher, and I do think he will make shots, but he's not like some great shooter. Pure play finisher. I think the playmaking is super limited, mostly by the handle. He's an okay standstill passer, but I do think his assist to turnover ratio was maybe a little bit overblown by his ability to throw high-low passes to Henry Vassar, playing with the stretch 5. Some nice passes on there, but I would not say consistently some high-level reader of defense by any means. In fact, I think he misses a lot of really easy passes. He is a horrible non-dunk finisher. Now he can't dunk a lot, and there is value to just being able to dunk a shit ton. Like, He is a good play finisher, and especially I think he's going to make shots in the corner too. But I think so much of the sell for him is defense, and I just think the defense is kind of overrated. Like it's good in that he has crazy natural footwork, long enough arms, and he is super bouncy. But it's bad in terms of he doesn't really execute team defense very well. He falls asleep all the time, and he can't get through screens. He's either going to have to really be able to get through screens and be someone who can really guard on the perimeter, or he's going to have to really clean up his help instincts and be more impactful around the rim. Despite blocking a good amount of shots, I would not say that he is, some elite second side rim protector. He can protect the rim, but a lot of his blocks came in really stagnant scenarios where the only read is block the shot. Whenever it's like actually having to make reads or, execute more complex help situations, he just doesn't pop. Like it just really does not show up to me. And so I'm very, I'm not out on him. I mean, I have him at 8 because I do think at a certain point he is still a great player.
He is good. He is a good prospect. Like for us to sit here and talk about how negative we feel, I think is mostly because other people are so high on him. People have him at like 2. People will have him, I haven't seen him at 1, but like 2 or 3, I think is even here at 4 is just a little too high when there's so many other talented players here. Who have you already seen the pick? Because you're ahead of me.
I have not seen the pick yet.
Who do you think this is? Call it now.
I'm going to say Wagler. I think Wagler goes here at 5.
I think this is I'm going to say this is Ament because it would be funny.
That would be wild if they take Nate Ament at 5. That might be. Well, no, okay. I always want to say that might be the worst pick ever, and then I remember that the Hornets drafted Tajon Salon at 4.
It was 6. It was 6, but still.
No, it was not. Was it?
Yeah, it was 6. It was 6.
Okay, so maybe I could say it would be the worst top 5 draft selection in my time doing this. Do you think that's accurate? Let's see. At least in terms of my board value.
Draft results. Ace Bailey last year at 5 was crazy.
But I had Ace Bailey at 19, so like not as low as I have Ament.
I had Ace Bailey at 30. I have Ament at 41. Yeah, that would be the worst.
I'm higher on Ament than you. I have him at 31, but
yeah,
I don't know if there's another one. All right, Silver's out. Let's see. If it's Ament, I'm gonna. Oh my gosh! I just accidentally turned my TV off. Oh no! My TV's not working. This is horrible. Horrible.
It is Keaton Wagler. It is Keaton Wagler.
But I like this pick quite a bit. Walk me through. I'll give my take because I was higher on Wagler, but walk us through your opinion of this pick here, Coop.
Wagler's really good. Wagler, I think, has a really high floor. Stone, we're like 40 years old, dude. Wagler, really high floor because of the feel. And he's very skilled. He can shoot the ball. He can create for others. But he's a grifter, right? This is a guy who will find a way to grift his way to victory time and time again. If you make a mistake, he's going to exploit it. He's going to exploit it quickly, and you're gonna feel the pain. I think Wagler is a really talented shooter. I think he's a really good fit for the Clippers here because of his unique floor and then his ceiling and outcomes, right? Like if you need him to take more usage and to do more stuff with the ball in his hands long term, he can do that, right? Like he could potentially be your point guard of the future, but you also have a guy who could fit if you're going to keep Kawhi, you're going to keep Darius Garland, you're going to keep all these win now pieces. I think he can just be a role player and then also come off the bench, be kind of like a bench star. He's just really fun and funky. He's different. And we talked a lot about the value of difference, or like being different earlier today. Now, Bryce, Sell us. This is, I think, actually your guy, Keaton Wagler. You talked me up on him quite a bit. I was a little lower because he's very unathletic, but sell us here.
I just think this is someone who's a special handler for his size, his ability to create space, to leverage his space creation and shot making to get towards the rim. He had a crazy free throw rate while legitimately playing point guard for Illinois. He despite not being a good finisher and a bad athlete, just he gets to the line a ton. He's a really good space creator and shooter. His ability to make shots from deep range is really good. I actually think the concern is that he's not like this crazy elite touch shooter. He's much more of like a, really good space creator who can make shots than just this like bomb over contest and, make it with crazy comfortability all the time type shooter. But he's just a really smooth ball handler for someone this size. Stone, you gotta relax. I think he's a really good passer. I think he'll be a good pick and roll operator in times, but I also do think, like you said, there's something you said for the safeness. There's someone who can exist on or off the ball, who can run second side actions. He can kind of play the one or the two. That is way different than you can say for a lot of the guards in this class. For such a guard heavy class, it's a lot of point guard only guys. Wagler is much more of someone. I think he can play legitimate point if you wanted to play just big ball and you wanted him, there's some modicums of the, he's not going to be SGA level good, but the SGA like size profile as someone who brings the ball up and plays point guard. But there's also some off guard stuff. There's some wing stuff. Like his versatility is really important. I also thought he was obviously super skinny and pretty laterally uncoordinated defensively, but really competed hard and really smart defensively. Like way better defensive player than someone like a Darius Acuff, who was also talked about in this range. And it's not even close, but even better than someone like Michael Brown. So I just think really, really good basketball player who, also was smart enough to find the right system and get better. So I'll be back in 1 second. I got to go kill another goddamn bug.
Oh my God. It's okay. This is our lives during recording sometime. Who do we think this pick is here? I want it to be Acuff. I think that would be really funny. I do also think it could be Mikel Brown. Mikel Brown would be a very Nets pick. We talked about the Nets early in this. We were talking about them as one of the worst drafting organizations in basketball. So we'll see if they live up to that tonight. Braden Burries would be an awful pick here at 6. Braden Burries is the type of pick you make at 14 if you have nobody else that you're confident in a draft. Braden Burries is not a high upside look here. I think he's just a role player. Will Barton was the name that came to mind for Burries. Ade Mara would be kind of interesting. They did just trade Nick Claxton, but we do think that was for Day'Ron Holmes to get more minutes. Bryce, call it. Who is this pick here?
Day'Ron Holmes, isn't it Day'Ron Sharp? That's
Sharp. Day'Ron Sharp.
Day'Ron.
Wrong Day'Ron.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who is this? I'm going to say this is Mikel. I think this is Mikel Brown.
Yeah.
I have not paid very much attention to consensus. I don't really know. But I think this is Mikel Brown Jr. right here. And I think, and we'll talk about it, but, it would not be the pick I make on my board, but I do think I would say that is a good pick if that's who they take. If they take Mara, I'm not so sure I would say that's a good pick. Like, what's the point of taking Mara on this team? Like, but we'll obviously discuss that as they get there. But wow, what a whiff of a 2025 draft. That's unbelievable. Drake Powell, I'm praying for you. I want him to succeed so bad. But all right, the pick is in. Baldy is at the stanchion with the 6th pick.
Mikel Brown.
There you go. Well, I called it. I feel like I am 6 for 6 right now, I believe.
I think you are, actually, yeah.
That's you just got to keep throwing it to me and keep seeing if I can keep the streak hot. I'll tell you what, this 7th overall pick I feel like is pretty obvious to call, huh? But Coop, tell us about
Acuff?
Michael here. Yeah. Tell us about Michael here in Brooklyn.
Michael. The thing that I think of when I think of Mikel Brown is I think of Jalen Green. They're kind of similar-ish athletes in that they're very skinny, they're very quick, they're very explosive. Um, he that's a interesting suit here for Mikel Brown. I do think Brown is a better shooter, and we talked about some in the Jalen Green draft that we thought he was like this really interesting shooting bet. And the shooting for Jalen Green is what unlocks his ceiling. And if he can really get there, really hit shots, I think he's really interesting. But he's like a nothing defender. He kind of tries hard. He can shoot some lanes, but he's just too skinny and not locked in enough. But I mean, this is a guy who can really score the ball. He can really shoot. He can score in the mid range, but he's not like he doesn't have a great process. He's best like coming off these screens from deep and just like bombing. And I do think that that's really interesting. But I don't know. The Nets have really sort of built into this identity of playmaking. And I do wonder if they see Mikel Brown as a playmaker. And there's a real argument that he is the best playmaker on their roster that they have drafted. And that's kind of crazy with taking 5 first-round picks on playmakers last season. I think you like Mikel more than I do. I think I'm lower on him. I have him at 14 in my late lottery tier, at the top of my late lottery tier. But I think you like Mikel more than I do.
Yeah, I'm working on pulling up my board here, but I like Mikel in that I think he is really high ceiling in that he's someone who I trust to beat switches, but who I also think probably can run some more traditional pick and roll, can play some off the ball with his shooting. Defensively, while I don't think he's good, he does like move his feet, pretty well. I thought he was a really good transition passer and a pretty bad half court passer, so can he start to, bridge the gap on those two things? I ended up with Mikel at 11. The thing with Brown is that he could absolutely be an all-star level guy and still not really be particularly valuable in a similar mold towards someone like Darius Acuff. Now, I do think he's just better than someone like Acuff, but kind of like I do have some concerns about he's just kind of a little bit unserious right now. Like does a lot of things that are just kind of dumb. His defensive effort waxes and wanes, not super elite in terms of his half-court decision-making. His shot first pass decisions in general are pretty rough, but he's a pretty special guard athlete who has at times been an elite shot maker. I have a lot of concerns about the form. It's super whack. It, again, kind of goes back to that unseriousness, but pretty special guard athlete, which is something that, for all the playmakers that Brooklyn has, they don't have. None of those guys are particularly athletic. Mikel is legitimately a good athlete as a downhill driver who can make shots. Like prototypically, this is your classic like star guard bet. This is someone who can make shots, who's going to punish unders, who can space the floor off the ball, who can also get downhill, who can make some plays for others, but is kind of more scoring minded, right? Like all those things absolutely fit. I could see this 100% being the type of guy who is some level of star in the NBA, even if maybe not a full high level superstar. The upside for me is that with the flashes he's shown with his footwork defensively, could he kind of develop into someone who is a bit more serious on that end while also being, an okay offensive, okay to plus offensive player? Brooklyn, I'm worried, is not the place for him to succeed in that way. But I like the idea of him as someone who plays next to really good players and makes it work. I was kind of hoping he would fall to Atlanta at 8 for his sake, to be honest. Coop, at 7, who's the pick here for Sacramento?
And it's got to be Acuff.
It's got to be Acuff. It's got to be.
And it is.
Oh my God. We're unbelievable. We are just balling. Coop, why don't we like this pick?
He's a scorer who doesn't do anything off the ball. The playmaking is kind of overrated, and the defense is probably worst we've ever evaluated bad. It's like it's extremely bad. He does have some like pros. He can use his chest well to stop guys defensively, but this is he's really just riding a hot February and March to this draft slot, and like great SEC play and some tough shot making. But if you make your whole life in the NBA off of tough shot making, life gets way harder when you're getting guarded by real NBA defenders. Um, I think there's some playmaking upside here, maybe, but I don't. He's not like he doesn't create very many advantages. He does a lot of tough shot making, whether that's as like a driver, as a shooter. He can come off screens. He just does not create a ton of space for himself. And Sacramento does it again. They find a way to draft guys that that will struggle in the NBA.
You know, we called Michael a little bit unserious. I think Darius is even more so. It's just there's just nothing I latch on to. I was not out on Darius Acuff. In fact, I think he will probably be like a solid rotational guard in the NBA if he's willing to buy into being more of a bench guy. If he's not, then it's going to be a real struggle. But I mean, I had him at 21 on my board, and again, it's partially because I don't really value the type of player he is in the general sense. Shot making guards who are mediocre rim pressure, not great dissectors of defenses in terms of their passing. Like, I think that is inherently like not a super interesting type of player. But I also like just don't think he's like the best bet at that type of guy. Like, I think he is someone who I have concerns about his jumper translating to NBA range. I have concerns about his ability to warp defenses. There's something to be said for being the type of guy who is good enough at making shots that defenses want you to take. But at a certain point, if the only shots you're taking are the ones that defenses want you to take, like, you have to be such a high level guy for that. And Darius Acuff, like, just does not put a ton of pressure on the defense. Like, and again, I thought the passing was fairly mediocre. Like, he makes obvious ones. He has good touch on lobs, but he also did play with like two of the 5 best vertical athletes in college basketball. Like, I do think we sometimes overrate how good of a lob passer someone is. Like, when you have Trevon Brazile and Billy Richmond as your primary lob catchers, like, you don't have to be that good of a lob passer, right? It's just like, fuck it, they're up there somewhere, you know. Like, I'm just, I'm not out on him as a player, but I'm out on him as like a worthwhile, you know, top 10 pick. Like, I think, you know, this is less athletic Colin Sexton going at 8 to the Cavaliers. Like, this is that type of pick, but to a worse, you know, more poorly run franchise.
Yep. Who do we think is the pick here at 8? Is this the Mara pick?
This feels like where it opens completely up, right? I'm like, oh, I think it's got to be Kingston. I think this is Kingston Flemings. I think this is just a straight run on point guards. I think
Kingston, I hope it is Kingston. Kingston,
I think he's too good to drop below this. And for what it's worth, I think Kingston would be an excellent fit in Atlanta. I'm not like crazy high on Kingston Flemings, but I think he would be an awesome player here. Tell us a little. You had him like at 3 on your board, I believe, Coop. Tell us why you love Kingston so much and how you would feel about him in Atlanta.
Motor and feel, I think, is just an elite combination. A guy who's very obviously a hard worker. He's got good feel for the game. Like, these kinds of guys just tend to succeed. I think he's got a really high floor. He's got good touch. He's a really strong defender. People talk about the size, but he is tough at the point of attack. He will bother you. Like, the floor is really high. I think the ceiling's really high in a real spaced NBA floor where he can get to the rim and not have 5 guys converge because there's one other shooter on the floor at any other time. I think if he can convert some of those 2 attempts into off the dribble threes, I think he's a really strong off the dribble 3-point shooter. I do really hope for Atlanta's sake that this is Kingston, very easily the best player left on my board. And I hope for their sake that they don't take a big or a forward. Like, you need a guard. And this is the guard draft. Like, go get a guard. Maybe don't overthink this. Keep it simple, stupid, and draft a good player. I think he also fits their identity as a transition team. He's so fast. He didn't get to do it a ton in Houston, but this is a guy who can get out in transition and orchestrate and kind of keep guys moving. And I think he would also be their best bet at a half-court creator.
Coop, I'm going to interrupt you really quick. I don't know yet, like, why it's not showing up on my screen, but Kingston is the pick at 8. So just so we're on the same. So we're 8 for 8 for what it's worth. So I'm lower on Kingston, and the reason why I'm lower on Kingston. So I have him at 15 on my board, which sounds really low, and Coop hates me already. But I kind of feel like the ceiling is kind of questionable for me in that I don't think he's like a great ball handler. I think he's a good but not like crazy elite passer. I think he's a good but not like lockdown one-on-one defender. I think he will make shots but is not going to be some crazy elite shooter. But I do think he is super high floor, and that guys this smart and this athletic just like figure it out, and this high motor. Like, I think he will be a really good NBA player. I don't think the Hawks are going to regret this pick. I think this is the perfect spot for Flemings too, in that this is a team that's not going to ask him to be some one-on-one advantage creator all the time. He's going to get a play, up tempo with other ball handlers, other guys who can help him out and make decisions. He is going to have to shoot probably to earn minutes on this team, but learning from CJ McCollum, someone who's made it in the league for a long time, I think is really important. I think this is a good pick. Maybe not where I would have gone, but I'm perfectly happy with it for the Hawks. I think Flemings will succeed, and obviously he's a guy I'm rooting for, right? Like, just as a deep in my heart Houston fan, like rooting for Kingston, and I hope it works out. I think Atlanta's a great fit. Atlanta's going to be fun next year with Kingston and Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels, like really fun up-tempo group. And they still have another pick coming up at 23, I believe, that, could potentially be someone interesting. Coop, any thoughts on the top 8 so far as it's gone down?
Sorry, that Kingston pick made me a little emotional. Best non-Jamal Shed Coug of my lifetime.
I was gonna say, is this the highest the Houston player has gone since you've been a fan?
Jarris went higher, but Jarris doesn't count. He went like 6 or 7 or whatever, and Kingston's better. Kingston should have gone like 5, but man, this top 8 is really interesting. I think we are going to look back on this top 8 and kind of giggle a little bit. I think this is not going to be the top 8. I wouldn't be surprised if this is this is 8 of the 10 guys who make the all rookie team. But man, I mean, just a very weird bunch of guys here. Acuff going before Flemings is crazy to me. Obviously, I think Mikkel's great, but I don't know. Just the order's all wrong. Order's all funky, all weird here. Do you have any thoughts, or do you want to talk about what Dallas is going to do here with Masai Ujiri and Dusty May at the helm?
Well, first we should probably talk a little bit about the whole Dusty May thing. If there was the type of college coach that could make it work in the league, it's someone like Dusty May, who is like an elite tinkerer, someone who is willing to play with lineups to maximize different guys. I mean, anyone who's able to take the starting center from a good mid-major team and say that's going to be my starting small forward, type of guy that's going to make it work. My guess is that this is kind of what he's been coveting for a while, is an NBA job. In terms of where they go, oh man, this has got to be Mara. I feel like, I know they have Derek Lively, but Derek Lively can barely stay healthy. Daniel Gaff. I think this is where the board starts to break a little bit. I think this is a die Mara at 9 to the Dallas Mavericks. That's going to be my bold take. Do you have a take here? Who are they gonna grab at 9?
If I were them, I would take LeBaron Philon, which means that they would never do that. I saw some theory crafting that this is going to be Yaxel, but everyone's been talking about him dropping today. You can see Kelvin. So cute.
What a guy.
Of course he's got a great suit.
No tie.
No tie. No tie. He's done it too many times. This is casual for him. Getting kids drafted, it's casual now. God.
Yax would be interesting. I think, Braden Burry's name is going to get brought up. I feel like this is way too high. I think people haven't fully processed in their minds that Dalen Swain is the same age as Braden Burry's. Braden Burry's, his rookie season will be his age 21 season. He had a really good college year, but he's not a freshman, really. Even though he was obviously technically a freshman, he's not a freshman age-wise. And that's just, it's so interesting. It's so interesting how he kind of gets discussed sometimes, where I feel like that goes under discussed in this draft because it is such an old draft in general. But I do think your age relative to your class still matters, because who have you grown up playing against? Who, were you making your name against in high school or whatever? And, Burry's, again, good player. Don't get me wrong. Good player. I would draft him fairly high, but 9 feels like way too high. For what it's worth, for every pick until he gets drafted, the best guy on my board will be Ibuka Okori. He's at 4 in a tier of his own. He's not going to get drafted for a little bit now. So, I'm not super holding my breath about it. Then it would be Jaden Quaintance. And then after that, Yax, Bennett Sturts, Alan Graves, Dalen Swain, Philon, Mara, and Kareem Lopez make up my lottery guys. Coop, who are the best guys remaining on your board right now?
I did just have this pick spoiled, and I will just say I predicted this in the mock that we did.
Do I have time to remember? Who did you take at 9 in the mock? Nate Ament? No. Okay. Holy shit. Wow.
Oh my God. Dude, I'm happy for him. That's so sick.
At 9. I don't know who would have guessed he's going to be the first Michigan guy off the board. Obviously, that's the guy Dusty May probably did. I'm guessing Dusty put his foot on the scale a little bit there. I like Morez quite a bit. For what it's worth, he's the next guy not in that lottery tier. I have him at 17. I have a lot of concerns about the upside. I don't think he is good enough to be some elite defensive player of the year level defender, nor is he some playmaker or true high flyer offensively. But he's just really good. I mean, he's just a really good physical body. He's, in my opinion, one of the safer guys in this draft, and that he is at the very least going to be a competent switch big who can, function as a finisher around the rim. He's more of a power leaper than he is someone who gets up really high or gets up really quick. He kind of does have to load. He's just because he's kind of bigger and stronger. I like his fit next to Flag. I even think there's a world that he could play some 4 in the league next to someone like a Derek Lively, because I don't think the shot is crazy far away. There's all this intriguing stuff with him. I do think this is quite a bit rich for my blood, Coop. But how are you feeling about Morez here at 9?
I had Morez Johnson at 10 on my board, just below Yax. Motor. This is an athletic guy who can run around. He can score on the interior. I still would have taken Yax over him. I think Yax is just better. But I mean, if the guy who coached him thinks that this is his guy, this is sweet. I took him in our mock draft because I think this guy's awesome. I actually have that Paris Lego set, uh, but like just a really high motor guy to put next to Flag. I think you can have the two of them as your 4-5 or your 3-4, which is really fun. I think Morez Johnson is a ceiling raising defender. I don't think he's like this super high floor guy. I don't think he's like Amara, where it's like he's going to completely control the defense, like control defenses. But if you get him next to the right center, I think he could be like a switch everything kind of 4. He can play multiple different coverages. He can play the 4 or the 5. This is kind of the perfect. His shoes are a really bad color, and his pant legs are too small. And he doesn't have on a tie. But I like the color of his suit. But I really
Okay, not
like
to interrupt you. Is that his dad or his brother? If that's his dad, he looks unbelievable.
Is that his dad?
Good for him, man. If those are his mom and dad,
yeah, that's his dad.
Holy shit! I mean, damn, good for you, bro.
Yeah,
that's. I hope when I have a son that's getting drafted in the league, I still look like that, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, good for them, man. I always love seeing people crying. It always makes me so happy.
You were about to cry when Kingston got drafted, so
I was about to cry when Kingston got drafted. So I'm just like that, man. I'm just like that. If like me or my family members or like somebody I knew got drafted, I'd be crying. It's like I met Jarris one time at UH. And like I bumped into him one time and I almost started crying when he got drafted. And I didn't even like him that much. This is really cool. I think this is a really interesting pick. I do wonder how much do you bring in a coach and like let him influence decisions this much? I can't see Masai making this pick on his own, but
see, I can though. This feels absolutely like a Masai pick, dude. The 6'9", long, athletic, offensive rebounding forward who can't shoot. I mean,
but he can't dribble.
I know he can't dribble, but has offensive rebounding and like dominating the defensive glass become the new dribbling in terms of, what's the new meta? It's, rebounding again. Like I'm starting to grow on this pick because I do think he can play with another big probably, but he could also play without one. And that's like nice. If you take a Mara, that can't happen. But I do just think Mara is probably better than Morez Johnson. And I think quite a few guys on my board are that. Like for me personally, and again, I'm going to say this a lot, I would have just taken Ibuka, Corey, and laughed to the bank and said, that's my second star. I got Flag and I got Ibuka, and I'm all set for the next decade of dominance. Morez does not necessarily feel like he's fully in that realm, if that makes sense. All right, who's the pick here at 10, Coop?
This is stopping the Nate Ament slide, I believe.
This is going to be Mara. We're going to give my guy Yakachonis a true role threat, unlike that bum Kalel Ware. We're losing listeners as I speak. Who would you take? Who, if like your board right now? Who are you taking?
Probably Phylon, or Ibuka.
I don't know that I would take Phylon. Like you just made this all in. Like obviously it's tough to fully rebuild because you don't have all your own picks, but I would not take a guy like Phylon here, despite liking Phylon personally. Like I want for Phylon's sake him to go to a better spot than this.
I do too, but if I were the Bucks, he's the best on my board, and at this point, I don't give a shit about Ryan Rollins or Tyler Hero. It's like just give me the guy who is the best player, and to me, I think that's Phylon. I don't know. Genuinely, this team is just disgusting. This Bucks team is nasty, and Kasparis is cool, and like Kasparis and Phylon could be fun together. I mean, okay, let's see who the pick is.
All right. Again, I'm going to say I think this is Mara. Braden Burry. All right, walk us through why is that your? Oh my gosh,
dude.
listen,
Hey,
I don't. I mean
hey
this with
guys.
no offense towards Burries, but he's a very goofy looking dude.
Yeah.
Anyways, why do you laugh like maniacally at the drafting of Braden Burries?
Well, his suit fits very poorly, but also like this is you are hard rebuilding. You need players who could potentially be stars, and Burries is really cool and moderately interesting, and there is no world where he's a star. I would place real money. I don't gamble. I don't bet. I would place real money that he is not a star in any world. This is Will Barton. Why the hell are you drafting Will Barton at 10? There's not a world even in like a redraft where it's like, oh, Will Barton is the 10th best guy in this class. No, grow some fucking balls, dude. Like,
Yeah, I mean the thing with Burries is that he's an undersized wing who's got to like guard point of attack and make like be kind of a connective guy. He's a really good transition scorer. I just, yeah, I mean I'm just not with this. Truthfully, I just don't really. Not a guy that is big on Burries. I don't hate Burries. Like I think Burries will be an NBA player. And if your idea was just, hey, I want to take someone who's for sure going to be an NBA player, okay, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, I'd much rather. I see. Like I was like, I don't know about Phylon. I would have much rather taken Phylon. I would have much rather taken. If you told me this was Kareem Lopez at 10, I'd have been like, okay, let's get funky. Like let's start to. Braden Burries, I'm just so unenthused by at this spot. Again, I think he'll be an NBA player. I even think he'll probably be a really good rookie. Like people are gonna, if we were a bigger draft show than we are, Coop, people would clip this, and in a year they'd be like, "Do you still mean this about Braden Burries?" And I'd say yes, because I think he's gonna be perfectly fine. He's gonna be good. There's gonna be moments where he's like really locking someone down there, and people are gonna be like, "Braden Burries, look at the elite defense. He's gonna have some cool dunks. He's gonna make some threes, but." This is like, again, position locked 2 who is not elite at the point of attack. I think will be good, but not elite. Who is an okay, but not great shooter, who can't really play make consistently for others, and who has no handle. I mean, okay. He's a really good athlete, really fast, probably the fastest guy in, my guess would probably be like true, like on court speed, probably the fastest guy in this class. Is that maybe accurate? But I don't know. I'm just not super in on this. Not super in on this pick. But again, I'm not out on Burries. I think Burries will be in the league, but not crazy enthused about this. But the Bucks are in an interesting spot. Please just don't take ball handling reps away from Yakichonis. Let Yakichonis run 40 billion pick and rolls next year. And the Bucks, for what it's worth, will be picking again at 13. So, maybe they can redeem themselves. What happens here at 11, Coop?
Oh God, I actually have no clue what is going on in the draft anymore. We were chalk for 8 picks, and then things just went crazy the last 2 picks. Phylon on the Warriors would be funky. Yaxel would be really cool. It feels like Mara's sliding now. Merez Johnson went 9. The third best Michigan player went first out of all of them. But yeah, here at 11, like Mara, like I felt like he was a sure thing go at 8, even 7. And now is he going to make it like to OKC at 12? That feels crazy. I'll
be honest.
Who's your call here?
Who's my call? I mean, if the Warriors were at all a serious franchise, they would draft Jax Landenborg here, but they probably won't. I'll be honest. If Jax is on the board at 12 and the Thunder don't take him, I'm like, what are we doing? Like the Thunder are too good of a drafting team. Like it would make me start to wonder about like intel on Jax, or I mean, I can hardly believe that people are chafing at the age that much, but maybe I'm wrong. My guess is that it's Mara here. I know I've said that multiple times, but I think the Warriors are the type of team that's like, we get a giant center who can be in the dunker spot while we run this handoff stuff for Steph and Pajemski, and then we can throw it to him. Draymond can have someone to throw it to on his short rolls. But then also, I think Mara is, again, despite my issues with his like what his passing actually is, I do think he is probably a good enough passer to also run some of those DHOs and make decisions. So, I like Mara. I would like Mara quite a bit here if they decide to go with Mara. It's not who I would pick. I would pick Yaks. I would also seriously, he won't get considered this high, seriously consider Allen Graves right here. Like I think this would be an excellent Graves spot. I think the Thunder at 12 would be an excellent Graves spot. Like, but my guess is that it's Mara. The pick is in, so we'll see here in a second when Baldy comes to the stage. But we're getting close to the end of the lottery here, which has been I would say a kind of interesting one. Again, there's that run on point guards, and then 9 and 10 have kind of been a little bit wild. Coop, I have a question for you about Burries on the Bucks. Do you think the Bucks see him as a point guard, or do you think they see him as a wing?
You have to think they see him as a wing with Casp and Rollins, I think.
I don't know that Rollins is necessarily in their long-term plans, though.
That would be crazy. I feel like I don't know. Rollins has been good. Maybe you get a first or a couple of firsts for him, and then that's worth it. But I don't know.
Yeah. For what it's worth, so Kyle asked about Corey. Would you think about him in this range? I would. Yeah, for sure. He's 4th on my board. I would think about him. I would draft him right now, no hesitation, even though he's probably not really this talked about in this range. I don't think he's likely to go this high. I would 1000% take him this high. I think he is that level of talent. I just think he's a really good basketball player who's slipping because he's a little small and was on a weird team. But, realistically, I don't think he'll go probably until we're late teens. I think his range probably seriously starts. Who has the 16th pick, Coop? Do you remember?
Who has the 16th pick? The 16th pick is the Grizzlies.
I'd say that's probably where his range starts. If the Grizzlies leave this draft with a Corey and Boozer, I'm a Grizzlies.
All right, let's see who the pick is.
The Golden State Warriors at 11 are selecting Yaxel Lendeborg. Great pick.
Yaks! Big Yaks!
Coop getting excited for the Warriors making a good pick. How times have changed.
Oh, dude. No, I'm excited for Yaks. Yaks, This is actually Cooper Klein, the mock drafter. You go back to our mock draft. I've hit on the last 2 picks
Coop
in this fucking
Coop was
draft.
In his bag. He took Perez at 9 and he took Yaks at 11. That's
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
Go ahead. Max poetic about why this is such a good pick.
Dude, Yaks is the role player that I've maybe ever scouted. This guy can do literally everything. He was the best player on the best team in the country. He can do everything on offense and defense. He can shoot. He can pass. He can drive. He can use his strength. He's athletic enough to slide with guys. He's athletic enough. He played the 5 last year and was one of the few players in history to lead his team in points, steals, blocks, rebounds, assists. And then he goes and he plays the 3 for the national championship team. He almost leads whatever, was it South Florida or was it Tulane? I get them confused all the time. To the tournament with nobody else on the team. And then UAB, same thing. They're all green schools. And then he almost drags UAB kicking and screaming to the tournament and then goes to Michigan and is incredible. Oh my God, he should have come out last year and been drafted, but I'm really happy for him that he didn't actually slide. I think the idea of Yaxel sliding is ridiculous. I think at the end of the day, the draft is about drafting good players. I don't give a fuck if Yaxel's 24 years old. He is probably the 5th or 6th best player in this draft. He was the 2nd best player in college basketball last season. So there's an argument like he just draft the guys who are good. And that's Yax. Yax is going to come in and he's going to make the Warriors better immediately. And I am really happy that Yax gets to go somewhere that values him and what he brings.
Yeah, I mean, I just think this is an unbelievably good pick. He is my bet for the best, like, you know, the role player superstar in this draft. Just like you said, he does everything. A really good rebounder. He guarded point of attack the majority of, he like Keaton Walker went 5th. Yax at 6'9", 270 or whatever was guarding him at half court the whole game. I mean, did he get through every screen? No. Like, I don't think he's like elite in that, like guarding guards, but I think he can switch fairly well. I think he's going to play a coverage. He's an elite transition player. I think that's gone under discussed is like he's an elite transition player. Like he can bring the ball up, he can and make plays. He can bring the ball up and get on top of the rim, use his strength in those one-on-one scenarios where he has at steam. I think he's going to be pretty unstoppable. He can make passes in transition. If you are going to try and like hide smaller guys on him, he's going to be good enough in the post to post those guys up. The one question is like, how good of a shooter is he? And I think that's kind of what's going to determine the ceiling. If the answer is he's a really good shooter, then he's probably, a borderline like all-star to me. If the answer is that he's a bad shooter, then I still think he's an NBA player, but not maybe as valuable of one. But if he's just exactly the level of shooter he was at Michigan this year, then he is the starter on really good teams for a long time. And I think the Warriors are really happy with this pick, even though obviously there's so much in flux with what they are as an organization. I think he's going to help him be good with Steph Curry. I think he would help him be good after Steph Curry. Like he's just consummate for the next 10 years until he's 35, going to be a really good NBA player. I believe that strongly. I just think it's an excellent pick. And someone I'm rooting for. As a JUCO guy, I coach JUCO. I mean, it's hard not to root for Yax. It's hard not to see him, in tears up there and get a little bit misty-eyed because obviously it's a really cool story and a really cool thing, and you're always rooting for guys that have had to kind of overcome things. And, despite how old he is, I think it's gone under discussed, his basketball age not being that old. There's all these things that are, interesting with him, but I think this is awesome. Coop, who's going here at 12 to the Thunder?
The Thunder are about to pick a pussy. That's all I can tell you. That's OKC basketball right there. If they pick someone who is tough here at this 12th pick, if Sam Presti has learned his lesson, the NBA is done. NBA is wraps. But he is going to take someone like Mara, who is just like he didn't learn his lesson from Chet, and it's going to be someone who like a Mitchell Robinson can just cram into a trash can and then just like dunk him physically into the basketball, into the hoop. I don't know. Is this ending the Ament slide? I've been saying Nate Ament is going to go for the last 7 picks because I think it's funny. That does feel very OKC.
If they actually take Nate Ament, like that would be. You're too serious of a franchise to take someone like Nate Ament at 12.
Dude, this is the same. They took Ousmane Dieng. Like they're not actually that serious.
Ousmane Dieng could. Okay, you're right. My bad. You're right. You're right. No, you're right.
It's
at least delude yourself into thinking that was like a dribble pass shoot, wing. Like Ousmane Dieng,
just look at the stats, like
is bad, but Ousmane Dieng is probably like a borderline. I mean, he'll probably start for Milwaukee next year, right? Like he's kind of like an NBA player. I'm not sure that Ament is even like kind of an NBA player. Now I will say, like, I think that there's worlds where actually he's an okay kind of actual 3-and-D wing, but I really hope it's not. I hope it's not Ament. Well, maybe, I don't know. Do I want the Thunder to pick a good player? I don't know. Let me throw out some names here because I do think the Thunder are another team that kind of beat to their own drum a little bit. Could I think do some interesting things? If this is Alan Graves, would you be shocked?
No, I think that would actually be a good pick, and that would kind of annoy me. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what they do here.
I'm going to say my prediction before he says it. I think this is Hans Steinbach.
I think this is Mara.
The OKC Thunder select Adai Mara. Great job, Coop.
Dude, they drafted a pussy.
You're balling out here.
Dude,
So do they just trade Sorber now? Like, what happens with Thomas Sorber?
Dude, I don't know, because Sorber's like probably a better fit for what they do than Mara. Like,
I agree, but they're gonna re-sign Harten. There's no way they're like, oh yeah, Mara's so good that we're gonna let Hartenstein go.
they have to. He's making like $20 million.
No, they're gonna. They already traded Wiggins. They're gonna trade Joe. They're gonna find a way to make it and
That would be crazy.
Incentivize someone to take Kenrich Williams, and then they'll have the money to bring Hartenstein back. Will they just play Chet full time at the 4? Are they like done with the Chet as the center idea completely?
I guess
that'd be interesting. I mean, it's kind of funny to think like we've gone so far from small ball that we've like returned to every team has to have an actual power forward now. Like your power forward is no longer just another 3 most of the time. You know, again, exceptions like obviously the Spurs didn't really play a true power forward, but from like most teams have to play actual power forwards now. I kind of like this pick. Like you know, I could bash on it all I want. Like I think Quaintance is better, but I think this is a good pick. Like for what it's worth, I do think Mara is just like kind of too big and too coordinated to fail in the NBA. Like I think the passing is mostly fake. I think the defense, while funky, probably is never quite actually good. He's a below average rebounder for this, you know, someone this size, but he's just like big. He can really catch the ball. He can run. He can actually like dunk from well outside the lane. Like this is just, he's probably just too good. He's probably just too good to actually fail. And so I do like this pick. Damn, his mom is tall as hell. I guess I'm gonna start. Don't kick me.
Dude, why do they have these tiny ass couches for these massive people and their massive families? Like, what is wrong with you people? Yeah, why would you do this? Oh my god, dude!
His poor dad is like sitting on like the very edge of the couch.
Oh my god, this is. I do think Mara is interesting because, like, in theory, he could raise the defensive ceiling of the Thunder. I think he gives you a different defensive look than a Hartenstein. He's just massive, and he's like if you get 15 minutes of good Ademara minutes on the Thunder, like real winning basketball and non-Shea minutes could be really impactful. And I do really worry that their real problem was that they just got bitched by tough players. And then you bring in Mara, who's kind of contact averse, who's, you know, not super strong, whose whole thing is that he gets out of shape. He's out of shape and he doesn't have great, I don't know. I do kind of worry about that. But
to give a little bit of pushback, for what it's worth, I do think that Mara and Chet, while both being individually bad rebounders, would be a good rebounding front court. I think there's an argument that it's better. Like I do think I agree with you that Sorber is probably like a better, as an idea, a better fit than Mara. But I actually think it might be good to have something to do that's just like a complete curveball. Like, what if you just had like a true, just gigantic screen and roll guy instead of, you know, like Hartenstein is almost never just like rolling to the rim and pick and roll. Right, he's doing a lot of the delay stuff and the get actions and all that stuff. But like, what if it's just like we're just gonna have, you know, Kassan Wallace run just like a true pick and roll as the bench unit. He's just actually gonna get a screen. He's gonna get into the mid range and he's gonna try to throw a lob. Like, you know, he can give him a dunker spot. Like, you know, he does all these different. He just like, I actually think being a change of pace at the 5 is probably beneficial. And again, he's good. I'm glad he's not going top 5 and he's not going to have those top 5 expectations because I don't think he is ever going to be like a like some high level, you know, starter defensive player of the year type. I just think he's a good solid big, you know, probably a top 15 to 20 big in the NBA at the high ends and a top, you know, a really high level backup at the lower ends. If you get a really high level backup at 12, I know people don't always want to hear that, but like that's still a good pick, especially one who can kind of change pace and do different things. Coop, who do you think the Bucks take here at 13?
Are we ending the Nate Ament slide at 13? Am I going to say that for the 8th time in a row here? I don't know. Is this the Phylon pick? Are they gonna pick somebody actually good here at 13?
I think Phylon's gonna fall, even like he's gonna fall, I think maybe even comfortably out of the lottery. Like
that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know. I don't really know who this could be. This could be genuinely like I feel like this has to be a Mint because there's not that many more bad players that can be drafted by bad teams. Like, I don't know. Kareem Lopez would be cool here. I think at 13, like, take the swing on like just a huge athlete. We've seen weird athletes, strong guys succeed. I think Milwaukee would be a cool spot for him. I don't know, but that would actually be a good pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna say for what it's worth that this is also a Mint. I think that Nate Ament is gonna go here at 13. Who do I want? I mean, obviously, again, I'll keep saying Abuka, Corey, Jaden Quintance. That's who it should be. You know who I'd be really interested to see here is Bennett Sturts. But I don't. How many white guards can you have in one NBA backcourt? I mean, I know you're in Wisconsin, but I think that's probably a little bit much still. Swain, if it's Swain at 13, how do you feel?
I want Swain to go to a real roster. But getting development reps for just like a 6'8" guy who can really dribble would be cool. While we're on commercial, do we think this is going to end? Or do we think I can go to the restroom real quick?
Go to the restroom. I'll bam. I mean, I'll let you know who it is. But
okay,
yeah. Anyways, for the Bucks here, I mean, I think the best thing for them to do would be to just take a Corey. I'll keep saying that, but if it's a Ment and they leave this draft with Braden Burries and Nate Ament, I just think that's got to be just on par with the Nets draft last year, but with arguably like for the draft even better capital. So I don't know. A lot kind of hangs in the balance here. Kyle says Sturts doesn't fit with their timeline. I understand that, but I also just think for me, he's the level of player that you just take here. Like, a 2-year difference matters to me when you're splitting hairs at the top of the draft. A 2-year difference can matter between who you're taking within tiers. At a certain point, like we're at the spot in the draft now where it's like you just got to identify who the best NBA players are going to be. Like, it's not really about my timeline or my fit. You just got to find who is actually going to succeed in the league. Fit does matter and that they have to be able to, execute your stuff and fit in with the coach you have, but fit in terms of like age horizons, I think is not super important. If he doesn't fit with your timeline, but he's really good, then trade him for value. Like, I don't think that's necessarily something that crosses my mind a ton here when I'm thinking about who to pick here. But let's see. The Bucks are going to take Nate Ament. It is Ament. We're obviously both very low on Nate Ament. I think this will make for a pretty all-time bad draft for the Bucks. For what it's worth, I think Nate is someone who has some defensive potential in that he can kind of move his feet. And because he's huge and can move his feet, I like him as someone I like him as someone who can potentially get over screens and bother the point of attack in kind of a Zaire Williams way. And we've seen what's happened with Zaire Williams. I think the biggest thing is he's not a particularly good athlete. He can't really dribble, not a very good passer. And also I think the shot is like not all that real. Like I think whatever the sell is just wrong. Like This is Cam Reddish 2.0 in a lot of ways. And I think, he's less athletic than Cam, maybe a better shooter. I think there is a path to him being an okay NBA player, and that if he can guard the point of attack and he can make some threes, he can be an okay 3D guy. But he would have to buy into that. What in his game has given me any reason to believe that that's who he's going to be? I'm just not a fan here. Coop, Nate Amen at 13 to the Bucks. Tell us your thoughts, and tell us your thoughts on the Bucks draft as a whole.
Ended the slide finally. Ament is not very good. He's very skinny. He's an aesthetic athlete, but I wouldn't say that he's actually a very functional or good athlete. I think he's really, I don't know. You like him more than I do. I don't buy the defense at all. I don't buy the offense. I don't buy the defense. I just don't buy, it's interesting that he's got some free throw chops, and maybe he's got some free throw tank in him, but he's not actually a good enough ball handler, and he's struggled a lot against really good comp to even do anything. As a whole, coming out, you just traded for Ousmane Dieng, and now you also have Nate Ament, and then you have a really uninspiring 11th pick in Braden Burries. Just not a whole lot of upside here, not a whole lot of floor, just not inspired at all. If this is one of the worst drafts I think that we've evaluated and sat through. I do think it's really funny that they drafted Giannis and then proceeded to never that hitting on an all-time great player has proceeded to cause them to never draft well ever again. Because so much of the philosophy of the person who drafted Giannis is just funny. It's I don't know. This whole thing is just a mess. Good for Ament. I'm glad he's getting his money, and I'm glad he's going to get minutes and the opportunity to prove himself. But this is not the direction that I would have wanted to go.
What are the odds Ament has above a 45% true shooting next year?
60-40. 60% he doesn't, 40% he does. That feels about as nice as I can get.
Fair enough. I just think this is going to be really bad. He's going to get a ton of usage, which is good for him. I always think it's funny that they make him wear the Bucks hat, or the Heat hat, excuse me.
That pisses me off.
Is that Nate Ament's dad? That looks like
a little white guy.
It looks like the KFC man.
Mm-hmm.
What's that guy's name? What's the KFC guy's name?
Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders.
Is that his dad?
The KFC man. I was like, I can't put it together.
No, that might be his dad. Maybe his dad's just older. But
all right. So is this actually Charlotte with back-to-back picks, or did they trade one of these?
No, it's Charlotte then Chicago.
Oh, I'm really dumb.
You can't read, dude. You're actually so old.
I gotta get glasses.
Yeah, go get your glasses, buddy.
Who's this going to be here at 14?
This is Phylon, right? This has got to be Phylon.
To Charlotte, no way,
dude. Shooter. They need a shooter.
I think they pull out some bullshit here.
You think so?
Oh yeah, this is going to be like Isaiah Evans.
Evans over Phylon would actually drive me into a murderous rage. Actually, I'd be pissed.
You know who this is going to be? This is going to be Cam Carr.
Cam Carr would be another crazy ball.
Dunks and threes go burr. I'm telling you.
I would have said any of the Michigan bigs if any of them were around here.
Yep, I agree. If Mara or I think this could be even. Did I say Steinbach? This could be Steinbach.
Could be Steinbach. Steinbach would be interesting. This is probably as high as I would take him, just because the fit is so interesting for Steinbach.
Yeah, I mean, Steinbach is just the white, less bouncy, but slightly better handling version of Musa Diabate. So,
He's a little shootier. He's shootier than Diabate.
For sure. I actually think I think Steinbach will shoot. So I think that's fair. So I don't know. I feel like no matter what happens, I'm going to be kind of unenthused. It just feels like the draft is kind of falling out until we get to whoever drafts Ibuka, and it's going to get my endless praise and affection. It's going to be Memphis at 16. Memphis at 16 is going to take one of Starks or Ibuka, Corey, and I'm going to say this is the greatest draft in the history of mankind.
That would be a great draft.
I have to look like, have there ever been any drafts where a team has drafted 2 All-Stars or like All NBA?
There's been a few. There was the Brunson Luka draft.
Oh, that's a crazy draft. Low-key, that's a crazy draft to have neither of them be on your team anymore. Anyways, Charlotte is up at 14, and they are drafting. Come on, old man. God, he looks more and more alien every year.
Yeah.
Hans Steinbach. Wow. Another poll.
I can't believe he's going lottery. Like, that it's interesting and the fit's good, but like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a little disappointing, but
he's got to fix the German puff he's got going there. I'm not about that. That was the weakest app I've ever seen. Come on, man. Go on. For what it's worth, I think Steinbach is probably an NBA player, and I do like his fit on this now newly more disciplined team. I think he's a really good screener who's an excellent rebounder. If you're an excellent rebounder who can make shots, there's a path for you to exist in the modern NBA as a 4 or 5. I think it's more of a rotation than it is a starter. Grew up on a horse farm with 70 horses. Wow. But I just I don't know. I can't get excited about this. I just don't think he's I just don't think he's really there's really much upside here at all. I think a lot of what people see as like offensive upside is kind of fake, but he's fine. He's fine. Do you have any thoughts here on Hans at 14?
Dude, his ears are huge.
That's why him and Adam, as he starts to bald, he's gonna look more and more like Adam Silver. He's like
oh my god!
It's like when he dapped up Adam Silver, he's like starting to slowly
he's siphoning his power.
It's like Darth Sidious.
Oh my god! No, we warned you guys. We warned you guys that this is not as official as our usual stuff, not as professional.
Yeah. Sorry for my dog. We're gonna look back in 10 years and be like, "What happened to Hans Steinbach?" We're like, "Oh, Adam Silver absorbed him."
Dude, what? They just called in Dirk. Oh my god!
Did they do this for Franz? Did they does Dirk just have to go on a tour every time a German gets drafted? I know they were just talking about that his dad played with him or whatever, but do we think they make Dirk do this for every German that gets drafted?
They just trot him out for
every they call up Arvydas Sabonis for if Hischenko gets drafted tomorrow. And Arvydas is like, I'm Lithuanian, this. USSR and Russia are not the same.
No, you signed a contract 20 years ago, buddy. Get on the goddamn FaceTime.
All right, who's this going to be at 15 for the Bulls?
It would be really funny if this is Ibuka. I
don't even know how I would feel about this draft. If they took the guy that I have 4 on my board as 15, and they took the guy I have 8 at 4. I mean, I'd have to be that's still a great draft. It's just kind of funny how that might work out.
Did they take Phylon? I feel like somebody has to take Phylon at some point.
I feel like this is going to be one of the guards. This is going to be Phylon or Sturts or Probably not a Corey, but I could see it being like, you know, I gotta pull up a consensus mock draft. Let me see where like
it could be like a shooter like Carr.
Gosh, if they take Cam Carr to go, and they're a team that can dunk but not actually play any defense or like any type of effective half court offense. There's like we better run like crazy and just get up the court and dunk. Like I kind of rose in Carr right at the end. I was listening back to our podcast and hearing you talk about him. I'm just like, he probably is just an NBA player, even if I don't particularly value like what he does. Like at a certain point, guys who are that athletic that can shoot like do just stick around, even if I think some of the process and the defense are not great. Like, so I mean, this could be like a Kareem Lopez. This could be. It could be Phylon. I don't know. I don't have a great feel for where this is going to go. Oh, you know who we're not talking about because we didn't like him very much, but who could absolutely go in this guard range is Christian Anderson. I bet you he does end up going top 20. You know, Christian Anderson could actually be the type of guy Memphis picks too. Like, oh my gosh, did you read that comment?
Yeah, I did. I was like almost crying.
That's disgusting.
Oh my god. Dude, every single other pick we actually sat here and like talked about for a good 5-6 minutes about like serious basketball, and then Steinbach gets drafted and it's just like
we were doing so good, except for the Nate Med. It started with Colonel Sanders, Nate Med's dad, and then it's devolved from there.
Oh my god. Oh my god, dude.
What's the best pick this could be on your board? Who is it still Phylon?
It's still Phylon. It's Phylon or Ibuka. Yeah. And then in that next tier, I have Quaintance, Graves, and Swain. So,
I mean, I like Quaintance here. It sounds like Quaintance might not even get drafted today. I'm hoping we get through a couple more picks. I have to leave in like 10 minutes, but I'm hoping to get through a few more picks here.
Yeah, hopefully we at least get the next two.
Yeah, I really want to see who Memphis takes. If we can get through the OKC pick, I'd be happy. But I have to go coach high school kids. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that I get to see my glorious King Ibuka Corey drafted before I have to go. I just want to say, last year I had, I took a lot of crap for ranking like Yakachonis as high as I did, and I want to say that I would do it again. And Ibuka Corey is my Yakachonis this year. Like, I love guards. Do you hear me? I love guards that are weird and funky, and I'm willing to say fuck it, top 5. Like, whoever my favorite guard is in the class is certainly going to be top 5 on my board every year. I think it's just been stamped, it's determined. And I hope, again, if the Bulls or the Grizzlies take a Corey, it's like kind of unbelievable. For what it's worth, I'm going to get ahead of it. I think the Thunder end up taking Sturts. I think they need more ball handling. I think they'd be very happy with Sturts when they get there. But could also be Christian Anderson. But I do think we're going to see another run on guards here soon. All right, they're making the Succubus is here. Let's see what he has to say.
I think that's the first time Adam Silver has ever been referred to as a succubus.
I was trying to think like parasite maybe is a better word. Who's this?
Dalen Swain.
Okay. This team they do not give a shit about your jump shot.
Dude, they just
they're going to run out of the 5-man lineup where no one can shoot.
Dude, no one's going to be shorter than 6'8", and no one can shoot.
They're going to be running, so it's going to be Swain at the 1, Matas at the 2, Giddy at the 3, Caleb Wilson, and Nick Claxton with Noah Songay off the bench. They're going to say, we're going to figure it out. I like this. Like, for what it's worth, like, I like this pick fine. I think Swain is an NBA player. I think he's just really funky. I think I truthfully feel like he's more likely to be like a interesting rotation wing than he is to be like a true like stamped starter. But he's 6'7" and can really handle, can make plays and passing. I don't think he's a particularly elite defender, but he is a productive one, and I think that will translate to the NBA. He's also super young for his class. He's like the same age as Braden Burries, despite being in college for 2 extra years, which I think matters. Like, it matters that he was a junior. He had a really good, productive junior year for a not great Texas team, but one that he definitely elevated, that went on a run in March because he kind of got hot at the right time. I mean, the big question is the shot. I think the shot is pretty far away, truthfully. But is it so much farther away than like a Tari Eason's was? If he shoots like Tari Eason, what level of player do you think he is, Coop?
I mean, that's like, is he like a top 15 or 20 like role player in the league at that point? Like, I feel like he could add like some prime Joe Ingles level value if the shot like actually falls at a decent level. I feel like properly reined in with a good defensive coach. I mean, I really like this pick. And I was even thinking to myself before this, like, it kind of stinks that they can't just like take one of the funky forwards because they have 50 million funky forwards on their roster. But like, man, this guy, this is really fun. I think Swain is really fun. I liked Swain more than you. I think I talked you up on him a bit because I just he's got it, man. He can just ball. I do think he's a little limited in some ways, but like, it's hard to find 6'8" guys who can dribble, and I think he's got a little bit of that. He can really pass in multiple ways, and that really matters. And I think the Bulls desperately just need guys who can play basketball in a very real way. Yeah. And I mean, even if like, oh, look at him. So cute.
Wow.
He heard me talking about him and saying nice things about him.
That's his mom?
Is that his mom? She looks very young.
How?
What?
Anyways.
You're just a dickhead, just so you know.
Yeah, I know. We do a little bit of rage baiting. Okay, we rage bait here. I learned that phrase from my students this year.
Dude, of course you did.
Don't think I'm hip enough to learn what rage baiting is on my own. Please just give me the Memphis pick before I have to leave. Please. I have 5 minutes. They take so long on this stuff.
Dude, it drives me crazy. Like, I get
it.
These
teams they need 4 minutes to make their decision. Like, and I'm sure there's some wheeling and dealing here and there. I get it, I guess, but it's so annoying. There's been like no trades on draft night the past like couple nights. The past couple years, it feels like. I mean, we haven't seen one really. I mean, technically the Heat pick got traded, but I mean, only technically. Like, it didn't get traded today, and it didn't get traded like as some complicated move up. It was just an asset to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. Get these two bums off my screen. I want to see who they pick at 16.
Dude, who's it going to be? They're playing up the dog shit UNC Duke rivalry as though like I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, the sad thing is NIL has ruined the rivalries for the most part. Anyways, like, I guess Richard Jefferson still takes some pride in Arizona, but for the most part, I don't know how much these kids really take pride in their school that much anymore. To have the one and dones ever, I mean, that's even a question in of itself. Like, has Kyrie ever been walking around like claiming Duke all the time? Like, I'm not so sure. Is he some Coach K stan, or is that just where he went to school? I mean,
so okay, I do want to ask before this pick gets announced. If they take Phylon here, how big of a reach is that compared to a Corey on your board?
Fairly big. I mean, it'd be a fine pick in that, like, I have Phylon, so this is the 16th pick. I have Phylon at 13, but I have Ibuka at 4, 2 whole tiers ahead of him. Like I do just lean towards that in terms of, you know, my decision making. But I would not be upset with a Phylon pick, because I think Phylon is an NBA player. I think this is a team that could, like, Phylon's fit with someone like a Cam Boozer is great, and I think that is absolutely something that they should consider. But I just think Akori is so much higher upside that and while not being so much like, in fact, I think his floor is probably about the same, if not a little bit higher, because I mean, the biggest question with Phylon is he just like a disqualifyingly bad athlete? Like, that's not going to be the case with Corey. Let's see here. I think it's going to. Oh, okay. I'm with that.
Interesting.
Shout out Bennett Sturts, man. So inspirational.
Where do you have Sturts?
Go ahead.
Where do you have him? Because I have him at like 16.
I have him at 9.
Okay.
I'm a bit higher on you. I think that he's the right mix of, like, I think he's one of the safer guards in the class, even safer than someone like a Phylon, because I think he's a little bit better athlete, a little bit better touch. But I think there is some real upside there, and that I just think, like, he's an elite pick and roll operator, an elite decision maker. But he was also forced to play super, super slow. What does he look like getting to play a little bit more up tempo and getting to be more of a, hey, on this 50, you know, this half an advantage, you continue it rather than just moving the ball so we can continue to move the ball type of thing. So I'm pretty in on him. Coop, to you and to the fans, you know what I mean? Our Upside Swings community. I love you guys. Sadly, I have to run because these high school kids need some yelling. So I'm gonna go do some coaching. But I will be tweeting some thoughts later, and then Coop and I will probably talk about whether or not we're gonna go live tomorrow. But Coop, I'm wishing you well, my friend.
Awesome. I'm probably just gonna stay on for the next few picks. But you have a good time coaching those kids.
Sweet. Love you guys. Peace. Okay.
Okay, let me see if I can find a better. Do any of these actually look? That looks better, I guess. Because then it's not just my face fully on the screen. Bennett starts here at 16. I just want to get through to 18. I just want to see who Charlotte picks, and then I'm probably going to wrap this up. Mainly because one of these teams has to take LeBaron Phylon, right? Like, am I crazy? Okay, that is true. I do now have to read your comments. Tari Eason shot well until March, by the way, buddy. So quit slandering my guy. Yeah, I do. I like Sturts. I don't love Sturts. He's not my favorite player in the whole. Oh, I could stream my big board. Actually, that's a good idea. Share. Let me download a picture of my big board. Except now this looks ugly. That's a good idea. We'll just go to 26. Download here. Image file. Photo. Okay, you can kind of see my board here. I'm going to get rid of the media asset at the bottom. This is just my top 28 guys. You can see they've taken Boozer, Darren's gone, Kingston's gone, DeBonce's gone. In that top tier, I'm just waiting on LeBaron Phylon and Ibuka Akori. Jaden Quaintance, I do worry a lot that the health is worse than we think. We know that the health is bad. We know it's bad because of the leg. But man, if he's really going to slip to the second round, somebody's got to take the swing, right? Like that guy, when he played, Grizzlies traded Sturts for who? What the hell? Did somebody trade up to get Sturts? Oh, Thunder traded up to get Sturts. Grizzlies move back to 17 here, I assume. Get a little extra second rounder or two. That's interesting. That's an interesting call. Let's see, 17th and second round picks. Yeah. And if you like Sturts so much, that's a really crafty move by Memphis, especially if they're going to get LeBaron Philon here. That would be extra crafty. But man, why do we need this much time between picks? It actually drives the entire draft could have been done in like 2 hours flat. We could fly through it. These teams are talking for months beforehand, in depth about the draft for at least a week or two going into it. But what do I know about anything? Who do I think the Grizzlies get here at 17? I think they should go Philon, Okori, obviously a good pick. Who do I think they go with? They could snag like a Sanak or something. I don't know. I don't really know what the Grizzlies do. Did he actually just say that? Is he on? I did see he was on live stream. If Philon said, who's going to pick me? Oh, dude. What is... They got some nice jewelry on, I will say, if you are on the FUBU or whatever it's called stream. I don't know why they're making these guys sign cards and taking an extra 2 minutes in between picks. Very dorky. Okay, the pick has been in for 2 minutes here. Now the NBA is going to go sell these cards for $1 bajillion. Yep, NBA, if you're going to let Philon fall, bring him to the Rockets at 39. The Rockets, I mean, they're an awful drafting team. They just cannot do it. God. Okay. I'm probably just going to call this after this pick. This is taking too long. And it's not as fun to do all the talking yourself. I thought we would be at Charlotte by now. Grizz trading back again to 21. Are they going to get a Corey? Are they going to trade back to a Corey and just get like 50 second round picks? That's crazy. That is crazy if they do it. If they pull off the heist, the Ibuka Okori heist. How am I going to feel if known bad drafting team takes 2 of my favorite players? Who would those 2 of my favorite players be? And which team is this? So this is, who did the Grizzlies trade back with? Ibuka. Ibuka at 7. Who traded up for Ibuka? What the hell? Okay, I'm going to go digging through Twitter. Who just traded up? Pistons trade up to get Ibuka Okori. Holy shit. What a snag by the Pistons. I got to text Bryce. Pistons get Ibuka. Wowzers. Major sell by the Grizzlies. I'm not going to lie. That's a great pickup for Detroit. Really great pickup for Detroit. They did the same thing with Marcus Sasser a few years ago, didn't they? Wow. I'm in shock and awe. Well, I'm going to wrap the show here. I wish Bryce was here to talk about how much he loves Ibuka, but we will post some draft reactions. I don't know if we'll have anything tomorrow. If Bryce and I have time, I think we'll go through and talk about each pick quickly, but genuinely, I don't know. They traded up with Memphis. So yeah, hopefully Phylon will go to a real team. I still can't believe Abuko went before Phylon. That is actively annoying me and agitating me. Thank you so much to everyone who came out. This was really so much fun. I wish we could go for the rest of the draft, but we were just starting to lose our minds a little bit. So I hope you all had a good time. Happy draft day. I will be posting on YouTube and on Twitter if we go live again tomorrow night, but I'm not sure. So thanks so much for all the love, all the questions, all the everything today. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your night and a good rest of your draft experience. So peace.